Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast, a show where each week Bruce, Leslie, Sweet Shawnsy, and me, Adam Portress, will put together a half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. This week, we continue on the road to the release of Deadpool, Wolverine, and we take a look at the various movies of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and we dare to ask the question, are these guys any good? All right, welcome back, everybody. We are talking the Ryan Reynolds film Just Friends from 2005?
Yep,
Yes.
2005.
2005. Welcome back, everybody. My name's Adam. There's Bruce.
Hello there,
John.
folks.
I'm also like the R word from Subway.
No, aren't we all, though? We're continuing down, as I said, the road to Deadpool, Wolverine here and everything, and exploring the careers of Hugh Jackman. But first up, we've got our friend Ryan Reynolds here, and our second movie. Bruce, you've picked out Just Friends for us. What?
Yes.
I think I know the answer to this question, but what brought you to bring this to the table?
Well, initially I wanted to bring Voices, but then I wasn't sure if it fit the criteria for what we were going for. This is a movie I'd seen once. I remembered it being enjoyable, but I almost never in my social circle hear anybody talk about it at all. The podcasts I listen to don't ever talk about this in the oeuvre of Ryan Reynolds, and it's got a fat suit. So I just wanted to go back and revisit it.
There was the
And
answer that I
also
was
the
actually looking
homophobia
for.
didn't hurt. You were like, you were all on board.
Absolutely.
He's like, I endorse this. It's all good. I had never seen this before. I remember the trailers because and everyone has aped it since then, especially like The Rock in his movie where he was like a former fat kid or whatever, where the recipe is put on a fat suit, or in The Rock's case, it was like fat CGI, and have them directly to camera sing a pop song and everything. I believe that started in this film, if I'm not mistaken. Feels like it did, at least, where it was just like
I can't come up with an earlier example.
no, but but that kind of thing continues to happen on and stuff like that, and I think that comes from this movie. But you're right, this isn't one that gets battered around a lot, and especially the fact that this is a Christmas movie.
Something that probably predates this comes from the world of television when Monica was Big Fat Goalie, and they kind of had some flashbacks there. But I don't know that she sang direct to the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good. I did enjoy that suit, and one of the best Friends jokes of all that I've ever seen was, they've got that old footage of her and everything, and she just goes, "Well, the camera adds 10 pounds," and Chandler goes, "So how many cameras are on you right now?" It's like that is a fantastic good joke. But we are talking about Just Friends, and we'll check out. Sean, you'd seen this before, maybe? And the
No, I'd never seen this movie. Although weirdly, this week, all right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
This week, weirdly, when Lindsay asked me what we're watching this week, I was like, Just Friends, and she said, "Oh, that's one of my favorite movies."
Here's the thing.
And so
the lady that I'm talking to right now asked what we were doing, and I said this, and she was like, "I love that movie." So I think ladies enjoy this film.
it's a sweet spot movie if you're of a certain age, I think, because it is legitimately a funny movie.
I think I apologize. I think I got a little delay, Sean. I didn't know you were still talking.
No,
But I think from an era where rom-coms were overrepresented or maybe a little oversaturated the market, this is one that was a little different and maybe stood out for folks.
yeah, I totally agree. And there's it's the fact that it's legitimately funny. It's not fake funny. It certainly helps it. To me, overall, I think this is a middling movie, but I think there are parts in this that legitimately made me laugh. Unlike Van Wilder from last week, where I was like, I can see why Ryan Reynolds is famous now, but it didn't make me laugh hard. Like I laughed maybe once or twice. This made me laugh more than that.
Yeah,
And Ryan Reynolds is that rare person who breaks the law. Like there's some kind of unspoken law out there that, are you funny or were you attractive in high school? Like that's the question, but somehow he breaks that rule because I think he's genuinely funny. And I feel pretty confident he was attractive in high school.
Nah,
Yeah,
nah.
he was working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he went to a high school that was like him and 4 other people sitting in a small classroom.
Yes.
So yeah, he probably was the best looking kid at school. I could tell you. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It depends.
I was going to say those the cast of what's that? Degrassi. Is that who we went to school with? The cast of Degrassi.
Maybe. Who
Probably.
knows? They're all Canadian. They were all on that show as far as I'm concerned. That's what we think of you, Canada. You all do the same thing.
Canadians become actors because they're hoping to go to America and escape Canada.
Yeah, this is a true story. This is a true story. There's a guy at work who is Canadian, and this week I found that there's a Tim Hortons right near where our location is for work. So I bought a box of Tim Hortons and brought it to work, and he wasn't there. The Canadian guy wasn't there, and everybody was like, "Oh no, we're eating Tim Hortons, and the one guy who would care isn't here right now." It was really funny.
I once visited the only Tim Hortons in Belfast, and it was conveniently across the street from the hockey rink.
Oh, that makes sense.
They're like, look, they gotta have some place to go after the game gets over. There's no place else in town. They just straight across the street. Before we get to the show and everything, though, we do want to say a big thank you to the people that support the show over at patreon.com/HMP. Those awesome people get pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. We appreciate all of you guys. It is so awesome that every single month you guys continue to support this show. And it doesn't matter at what level you do it at. You get all the good stuff and things. Whatever this show means to you, put that in a dollar form and get more things at the exact same time. We love and kiss you all. Thank you so much. Patreon.com/HMP. Or just write us on the review on the iTunes there. 5-star review. We really appreciate that. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I don't know if it's a bunch of bull crap or I'm just about to make it up, but I'm going to anyways. If you reviewed HMP previously, in volume 1, as it were, review us again for volume 2. See if that does something to the algorithm. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
Hey, that'd be great.
But hey, if it busts something up and then we jump up charts, I don't know. Who's to say?
And if this is your first time listening to the show, because we really didn't hit a lot of romantic comedies when we were another show. Maybe this is your first time listening. Give us a review if you like it.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And if you don't, shut up.
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Just shut up.
If you don't, nobody's going to care if you lie and say you do. So still leave a positive review, even if you hate it.
That's great. That's great, Bruce. Yeah.
No,
yeah, lie for us. Lie for us.
I hear it's opposite day. Why don't you go and write us a scathing review? Let's get into it, boys. Here's the IMDb plot summary for what's this called? Just Friends. As we all know, IMDb 100% correct in everything they say and or do. While visiting his hometown during Christmas, a man comes face to face with his old high school crush and best friend, a woman whose rejection of him turned him into a ferocious womanizer. A little clunky with how you put that together, but that's not too bad. This is written by Adam Tex Davis, who would go on to do, oddly enough, a lot of work with Nat Geo. He would do like Brain Games and Brainchild, so a lot of little TV nature kind of stuff. I don't know. Directed by Roger Kumble, who did Cruel Intentions was his first one. That was a big movie back in the day. He also did The Sweetest Thing, Furry Vengeance. Fury. But then there's just a ton of TV work and stuff. Starring Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart, Anna Faris, Chris Klein, Stephen Root, Christopher Rodriguez Marquette, and Julie Haggerty. Like I said, this is the first time I had ever seen this before. I remember seeing the trailer in fat Ryan Reynolds suit, and that's all I remembered going into this. So when I go to Amazon to try to buy the DVD for this thing, I see it come up as just a regular, standalone DVD for like $10, but the movie is also included in a 4-pack of Christmas movies, and that's when I find out that this is a Christmas movie. I'm like, oh, no clue at all that this was a Christmas film at all, and I'm surprised because, like, my parents are like wild into Christmas movies. I kid you not when I say they've got like 30+ Blu-rays of Christmas movies. It is ridiculous. They've seen them all, and they will continue to watch them all of the time. It's unbelievable. So I'm surprised that they didn't have this one.
This is a movie that works as well if it's not at Christmas.
Well, yeah, but it does give you that extra oomph that it is at Christmas.
And I'll be honest, like I said, I've seen it, but I've only seen it once. There's a lot of things that I misremembered. I had no recollection of this being a Christmas movie. I remembered snow, but snow isn't the same thing as Christmas.
Right.
I just figure New Jersey, it's snowy like 8 months out of the year.
I will say that, like, overall, just again, I don't think that I necessarily even read the plot or anything. I just got, at this point, I knew it was a Christmas movie. Here are like 3 stars that are in it, and that's about it. And I go into it, and I'm like, this is not like, as far as rom-coms go and the, you know, the creativity of getting us into the particular situation that we're in, this is not bad. This does a pretty good, decent job of laying the land out there for you, letting you know who the characters are, where everything goes. The economy of storytelling that they do in this is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's one of the less common rom-coms from the male perspective. And I think when they're from the male perspective, they tend to be more calm, like Something About Mary and less rom.
Yeah.
So I think that might be part of why this sticks out in some people's memory, because so often it's the female character who's the ugly duckling who has to win over the guy. So maybe some people like seeing this different perspective, particularly when that ugly duckling is the adorable Ryan Reynolds.
You know, the other thing about this movie that I didn't put together until just sitting here now talking to you gents is that this feels a lot more like an 80s comedy
I
where,
can see that.
you know, like your John Cusack lesser movies, your McDreamy movies from the 80s,
Yeah, like
you
when
know?
he's the pizza delivery guy, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Can't Buy Me Love. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, it's that style. It feels like that style of movie, just churched up for modern times at the time. And this movie is just a time capsule, far more than Van Wilder. I think this movie feels so 2005, and it just feels so far long ago from where we are right now.
In my memory, the fat suit was bigger because I'm going to be honest, when he's in high school, that's like a solid 75-80% of the high school kids here in town.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that fat. I mean, the face is a little roly-poly, but like the body shots, he's not that fat compared to what a fat suit would have to look like nowadays to get the point across.
Yeah, 25 years ago was very different. But yeah, it's that time capsule. But like, I don't know, for me, again, not having initially watched this in anything, the way that it's set up, this is like 5 years off of my graduation. So like, this feels very kind of relevant, and you know, I don't know, for some reason I latched onto this a lot more than I suspected that I would. I was just like, oh, I'm not too far off from this. It felt like, you know, and again, come from, you know, small town and everything, so I kind of get a little bit of the feeling and stuff that they're trying to kind of sort of maybe get across, but maybe not doing the best of jobs all the time. But I found myself enjoying this a lot more than I figured I would.
I also love the guy that plays Ryan Reynolds' best friend. And I'm like, he's so familiar. Where do I know him from? And then it clicked in. He's from this Canadian show called Corner Gas, where he plays a character named Hank. So Ryan Reynolds, I wonder if he actually knew him from his Canadian acting days and helped him get the job or whatever. But he's a great actor, and I'm glad to see him in this. I had no idea who he was the first time I saw this, so I may not have appreciated the best.
This is all shot in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah, everything except for the LA stuff.
Yeah, you're obviously
shot in LA, obviously, but the rest of it was shot in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. It's probably way easier to shoot in Canada than New Jersey.
They're just pulling Canadian actors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: great supporting cast this whole movie.
Yeah,
really solid.
I love Julie Haggerty.
Yes, and the kid who plays Ryan Reynolds' brother, they are so good together. Ryan Reynolds and Chris Rodriguez Marquette, is that his full name?
Yeah.
They are so good together. I wanted to see more of them because they really are behaving like the way that brothers behave. And it was so fun to be around that. I kind of want to see more of it. Like,
am I way off by thinking that guy had a Paul Dano vibe?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm way off a lot, but it still happens.
He was his career was basically course corrected by Paul Dano, because he was kind of on the rise, you know, like he kept doing those comedies, but much like Paul Rudd and that dude who's from Band of Brothers who looks like Paul Rudd but is not Paul Rudd. Like, it's like there's that course correction that happens with certain actors, and I think that's what happened to him.
Gotcha.
But they're great together. I would love to see something else with those two in it.
They definitely had the brother chemistry like down pat. But that's coming from a person who didn't really have much of a relationship with his brother. So I'm just basing it on like fiction versions.
Well, I'll tell you this, with me and my brother, this is and I'm the older brother, so like it all pans out. This is absolutely just like, sitting on them and punching them and just calling each other the worst things. But here's the thing, and it's the best part, and it's the part that I absolutely love that they put in. These two love each other.
Yes.
I love it when they're sitting there arguing. He goes, "I love you." He gives him a cookie. That is really sweet.
It is
my
just
sons,
like,
I don't see that happening with my sons.
Well, and that's the thing. Like we were, like, if and when we would fight and stuff like that, we would all make up fairly quickly and stuff like that. So, like, to me, all of that stuff kind of rang true. That big brother, little brother relationship stuff. It's great.
Yes, it's kind of my favorite part. Well, it's my second favorite part of the movie. We'll get to my favorite part in a minute. But I think that having these performances, having people who are the your supporting cast be so good, like Julie, what's her last name? Julie
Haggerty.
Who are we speaking of?
The mom, his mom,
Haggerty.
Haggerty. Seeing Julie
the one
Haggerty,
from Airplane.
yes, seeing Julie Haggerty in this, and it just sets you off. Like, oh man, that lady is so much like a mom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's just so good at it. And she's got that really sweet voice like this when she talks, and this movie ingratiates itself to you as you continue watching. Like, it rewards you for watching it, which doesn't happen with a lot of the movies that we watch. This one does.
She also feels like she could break at any second.
Yes.
Like she's got that nervous energy to where she feels like she's just trying to hold the whole family together. It's not really falling apart per se, but she feels like she's holding it all together and just being like, I hope I can just get everything and just keep it here. It's so fun.
And there's just something generally comforting, when you're that age range like Sean and I, where you probably watched Airplane 500 times as a kid.
Yes, completely.
We touched on it earlier. Let's talk about Chris Klein, because I came into this very jaded about Chris Klein. I really did, because there's a lot of stuff, based upon many of his other things. This may be the best thing I've ever seen him in. He's so good in this.
I think I've always been a Chris Klein fan, even though there's not been a lot to be a fan of. But he was one of my favorite parts about American Pie. I felt like he brought a sweetness to a very corny movie.
That's and again, like we talked about last week, where actors in their lanes, like, he is in the right lane for him here, where he gets to be funny, but he's also a prick, but he's also good looking, but he's also the guy that you need to defeat.
Yeah, he's good looking, but not too good looking.
Right. Like it's the perfect lane for him to thrive in. And if he had more roles like this, I think his career would have gone. It's not like he's hurting for a career. He's been on a TV show for like 4 years as I'm sitting here talking to you. He's been on that Netflix show, Sweet Magnolias, forever.
Huh.
But he's his career kind of fell off a cliff, because in 99 he's in Election, and then he's in American Pie, and it's like, well, it looks like the fame train's coming for this fella.
Yeah,
and he was awesome in Election too. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, he's great in that
just
movie.
That aw shucksness of him and everything. You buy that character so hardcore. It's great.
And Election was the last time Matthew Broderick was billed ahead of Reese Witherspoon.
Well,
for the Patreons, that's good. That's really good.
Wait till we do the last time Matthew Broderick was billed above month.
That's later.
Ooh,
that's later.
That's not a bad idea. That is now that's a topic.
Yeah, when you think about it, like,
that's
just a quick sidebar. It is funny, because then you could find that and then be like, who's the person that then would surpass him and would never, like, you'd never be on a bill with Matthew Broderick again because their star just shot too high. Hey, listen, write it down.
That's great.
We needed stuff like this.
Underground of acting.
Hey, listen, they're not that bad. Come on now. Gotcha, Velvet
he
Underground.
Launched 100 careers is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's bad.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I like Matthew Broderick.
So to get back to
the person.
Well, yes, he definitely did and got away with it. Which he seems to be. He put himself in like a self jail for that. Anyway, to get back to Chris Klein. So Chris Klein, right? Like, he has this career that looks like it's going to skyrocket, and looking around last night, the thing that really like slammed him, it wasn't the fact that he had a pretty bad drinking problem to the point where he put himself into rehab like maybe 10 years ago. The thing that really gutted his career is that he auditioned for Mamma Mia, and somehow the video of him auditioning for Mamma Mia got out. And I don't know who did that to him, but that was, he must have done something really awful to them for them to release that video.
Now, I have not seen that video. Is it like, is he trying to sing in it?
Yes.
Really bad? Okay. Because he sings in American Pie.
Yeah. His singing is terrible.
But so is Pierce Brosnan's.
No,
I mean,
it's true.
Was not a.
It's true. But no. Here's the difference, Bruce. I don't think Pierce Brosnan was going into this with the head of steam that your boy Chris Klein was going into this with. He went in with a fervor that you would unparalleled. And then when it came time to deliver, you were like, sweet Jesus, what is happening? This is not good. And there was part of that then kind of, and like, this is not, I'm not trying to be disparaging or anything, but this is just what I thought. Chris Klein, I always assumed was gay, not gay. I don't know why, but
losing a role to Dominic Cooper is not a bad thing either. I mean, Dominic Cooper's career went okay after that.
He's all right.
Also, Lindsay brought up something last night when we were watching this movie together, is that Chris Klein was dating a girl from Dawson's Creek. What's her name?
Katie Holmes?
Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
Dating Katie Holmes. She dumps him for Tom Cruise.
That'll shake a guy up.
But at least it's Tom Cruise. I mean, it's not like,
Yeah, if Ryan Reynolds steals your girlfriend, you don't feel bad. You're like, well, I mean, it is Ryan Reynolds for crying out loud. It is Ryan
Reynolds. I totally get it.
Okay, sure. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, let me ask you boys this. This is, you get older, you start seeing things. Things kind of start popping out to you on film, not quite like they did when you were a younger person and everything. What do you guys think about Ryan Reynolds' hair in this movie?
I'm gonna have to let you continue to lead me down what you think.
Because number one, I think he's turning gray already at this point because the hair is definitely dyed, and it's all over the place. And I also feel like this might have been some plugs when we're starting to get in through here. That's just these are things I'm thinking.
I think Hollywood is filthy with hair plugs, because I also think Hollywood's like, even the comedic actors are on steroids. Steroids causes male pattern baldness. I think it's just a given that Hollywood's filled with empty scrotums and hair plugs, even on the guys you don't expect to have an empty scrotum. Because even like, I'm trying to think of who's a good example of this, but it's like, even when what's the guy's name that played Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies?
Matthew Lillard.
Like, even when Matthew Lillard takes his shirt off on camera, he's got a 6-pack and pecs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like everybody's.
But it's part of the job too, Bruce. Like, you have to know, like, you don't want to be turned down for a role because you can't take your shirt off.
And that's why I'm saying I think they all have freaking hair plugs and empty scrotums.
Yeah, I love this. I love this idea.
Do they all carry cards?
A worthless conspiracy that I'm on board.
It's like it's this conspiracy that hurts no one.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm pushing it hardcore.
I'm on board, baby.
Growing up, my dad claimed that every guy in Hollywood was really short, and that's because my dad was tall.
Mm-hmm.
And now my conspiracy is they all have hair plugs because I have really good natural hair.
I tell you, but a lot of those cats are pretty short. But I will say this: it is nice seeing Ryan Reynolds being all tall in this movie, because he's tall for Hollywood standards.
He is.
Yeah, he's like 5'8", 5'9".
No, he's a good 6-footer there.
That's what my dad would say. Yeah. He would say they cast women who are extremely short so the men will look tall. Oh man, my dad's conspiracy theories about short Hollywood actors were great. Sylvester Stallone, you don't know this, he's only 5'5".
Sylvester Stallone would say, "Thank you for exaggerating." Checks is in the mail. It might bounce, but it's in the mail.
My dad's mind was blown when I introduced him to the concept of Apple boxes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, they don't even have to cast short women, Dad. Apple boxes. Tom Cruise, he uses them with Nicole Kidman.
Somebody showed like there was like a thing once, like a picture that I guess somebody drew or whatever. Maybe it was an actual shot of her walking, and then like I think it was on Days of Thunder or something like that, where they were just walking, and he had like a whole row of Apple boxes just to walk on, so they could be the same height as they go through the thing. I was like, wowzers, that's wild, dude.
It's like my youngest, his girlfriend is significantly taller than him. They're like 13, 14 years old. She's had her growth spurt. So every picture they take are on stairs. He's like
very
one
good.
or two steps above her.
Very good. That's how you do it.
But here's the thing, Bruce. At least you can take comfort in knowing that the Filipinos are very tall people. So you got...
Yeah, he's got that going for him.
So, that kid's going to grow up to be a big, tall one.
I was going to say the tallest Filipino on earth is Manny Pacquiao at 5'7".
And you're such a giant. He's got to get nothing but good G's. That kid's going straight to the top. NBA, I think.
What I lack in height, I make up for in enthusiasm. So if he gets that, we're good.
Let's talk about the secret weapon of this movie. We haven't said it yet. Anna Faris is killing this entire film. She is so good. This is I don't know that this was the one. What was she in before this? That Scary Movie was the
probably.
big one. I think was the other big one. Yeah. Because that was probably like 3 years before that.
She is so good in this movie. She is even if you're not a fan of Ryan Reynolds, or maybe you're one of these weird people who are like, can't stand Amy Smart. I don't know why you would be like that. Yeah. But if you are, Anna Faris is the reason to watch this movie. She is killing it. She is so good in this movie. She's stealing scenes from Ryan frickin' Reynolds.
Crazy, isn't it? And she understood the assignment. I don't like that phrase, but it applies here. She's like, I don't care what anybody else is bringing. I'm going to let people know that Amy was on set today. I mean, Anna was on set today. Maybe a little Freudian.
The toothpaste scene alone, her with the toothpaste in her mouth, and she's got 2 tubes in each hand, and she's on painkillers, and she is just destroying that room. And you know she's killing in the room because people keep turning their head away from camera.
I feel like she could have had such a bigger career, but maybe it was ruined by one bad decision, and that decision is Scary Movie. Like she just got too married to that franchise. Maybe it was an easy, reliable check, but I don't know how she didn't have a little bit. Like she doesn't do anything now, right?
No, she's very consistently working.
Yeah, she's been on a sitcom that's run for what is it? It's on its 8th year or something.
That show was
what
like
channel is it on?
CBS.
Oh man!
And here's the thing:
explains it. I don't watch.
But I'm gonna tell you this
TV.
because my parents are very broadcast people. I've caught an episode or two. Her mom, not bad. Well,
look at the acting talent on that show.
Yeah, you got Channing and
Allison Janney, for God's sake. Get out of here.
She's so great.
Do you think she got her a nice little nest egg from the divorce?
Of course.
No,
that's nice. That's when you're working for you and not for the man.
She's so great in this movie, to the point where like I can't imagine if she were making movies now and she looked like the way she did then, instead of because she's a bit older now. She's still a very lovely lady, but
20 years is 20 years,
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And so if she was doing that now, there's no way. Amazon, Netflix, like all of these places are like, we need her right now.
Yeah, she's hilarious in these things, man. And like another one where like she's a little bit after
Kristen
this time.
Chenoweth.
She's different than that, really. But like,
I'm just being
a little bit later though. She's like in Observe and Report, another movie where she just goes all to
that's
the
a dark
wall.
Scene too.
She's but so she also kills in that movie too.
Yeah, and it's like when she goes
she's
in
better
there,
than that other loser in the show.
that movie's I love that movie because it was just like one of those where I was watching. I'm like, oh, we're doing all of this now, are we? Sweet, this is insane. This film, but
it was very insane, and it came out the same time as Paul Blart. So people thought they were kind of like the same movie, which I loved because people would get confused which one they were going to see. Is it the rape one or the King of Queens one?
Boy, I hope they walk into the wrong one. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, me too. It's like when The Favorite and that Mary Queen of Scots came out.
Let's see what else. Sean, let's go to a couple of your our fun questions here of what I like to call Chauncey's question corner. Damn it!
Oh.
I almost hit it.
Whoa. So did you guys ever believe that they were actually in New Jersey watching this movie?
I did, but I've never really spent any time in New Jersey.
No, this looked like it. Even before you knew, it feels like a Canadian production. It's just like, because it's good, but it ain't. But there's like something missing. That little 10% in there where you're like, something's not quite right. But you definitely don't feel New Jersey. Now, if you said like, some New England town, maybe just something that's not quite, that's not as recognizable, I suppose. But no.
It does have to a person who's never been to Connecticut, it feels like a TV movie version of Connecticut.
If you'd have told me that was Connecticut, I'd been like, all right, that seems about right. I don't know what that looks like, but
I'm not
I'd assume it's close to that.
With you, Sean. It's from an outsider's point of view.
Man, you're objective. You're seeing it from your objective. I mean,
all right, good.
But it do look like that, though, right?
Say what?
But it do look like that, though, right?
It do, yes.
Thank you.
Totally do. Which brings me to the next question, which is this just a Hallmark Christmas movie with cursing?
Oh, man. Hallmark wishes, but yes, you nailed it. This is like, it's like the Hallmark movie people watch this and they want to make it, but they've got fetters around them, so they can't quite go full in with full on fat suit or anything. But yeah, this was Hallmark before they reached on to, I mean, it's the man instead of the woman, but you're leaving the big city. The only difference is you got attractive while you were gone.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is that
Doc
it works.
Hollywood is also an inspiration to all those Hallmark movies.
Yes.
It works, though. Everything about it, like, it has all of those hallmarks and all of the kind of quote unquote cliches here and everything. But it does it deftly. I mean, here's the thing, like, especially when it comes to like Christmas movies and these types of Christmas movies and stuff, there are formulas and stuff to follow. And then, like, if you deviate too far from those, that's when things start sucking. But if you stay on those roads and maybe a couple of deviations to make us, go, oh, this is fresh and new, like, like you're cursing, like your fat suit, is something that's a little bit different, a little bit off key from what you would normally see in those things. People will enjoy that. And I think this is an underseen film that I think many people would like more than they would suspect. I did.
And which brings me to this point, which is that with this movie, and the reason why I say it is just a time capsule of 2005 is homophobia as joke is, I can't believe it's 2005 and they're still making that joke in a movie, big budget Hollywood movie. It's pretty amazing to me. But the real big eye opener that made me laugh so very hard is Amy Smart's dad, who is not a villain. He's just somebody he's just a side character in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Throws out an R word.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And I laughed so hard because it's so totally unexpected. And it is the last thing you would ever expect to hear come out of that guy's mouth. And then on top of that, because it is talking about Jared from Subway, who at the time was not in prison for child pornography.
I was going to say, nowadays you mention his name, weight loss is the third thing I think of.
That's really funny. It's really funny. That's a great way of putting it. So like, he is like, this movie is way ahead of its time, but the fact that an R word got thrown out, it was so shocking to me. I laughed so hard. And by that point, I'm all in.
But
like, it's not great. I hate using that word. I hate it. I hate it more than any other word. But at that moment, man, it killed me.
And he's like,
what do you call something that's difficult to set on fire? Like, I still use the word and feel guilty for saying like flame retardant material and stuff.
Yeah.
I just burn stuff. I don't have to worry about
medical terms where you use that too for like not growing at the right pace and things, and you still feel like, well, we can't say that to the mom. We got to paraphrase it somehow.
Yeah, don't you retard that engine. That's no good.
I don't know what that means.
Without looking, nobody cheating. I will give the person a wooden nickel if they can guess Ryan Reynolds' character's full name from
Not
this
a
movie.
chance here. There is not a chance to me. He might as well be like Tony Danza, where his name is Tony in this movie, because I call him Ryan Reynolds when he's
the
on screen.
last name. It starts with a B, and it's kind of like, it sounds like a Canadian name, quite frankly. His first name is Chris. I know that because they say Chris a whole bunch, and I'm just like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm just like, I don't like it. So Chris, and his last name starts with a B.
It's Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it's just Ryan Reynolds in a romantic comedy. That's literally what this movie is. And here's the big one, because it was bugging me to no end that I recognized the guy who plays the bully in this movie. I could not place him though, so I had to look him up, and he is the guard that Mystique shoots metal into his butt in the bar.
Wow.
Magneto then pulls out of him to kill him and get out of the prison in X-Men 2, X-Men United.
Huh.
Wow. That is a very, very unique role to recall. I'm proud of you on that one.
But, well, I didn't recall it. I saw it when I saw in his filmography that he was in X2. I was like, that's who he is. He's the guard.
It's kind of like me and the guy from Corner Gas. I get it.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing about that is that in X2 was released 3 years before this movie was. So he's playing a prison guard 3 years before he's playing a senior in high school.
Yeah, but they're casting them for the after he comes back to town first.
Oh, dude, sir. There is no reason to cast this actor who looks like he's 40 years old as a high schooler. There's no reason.
And the worst part of all of it is we don't even bother to shave his head when we get to the point. It's a crappy bald cap, and it's just like, oh, come on.
He is Canadian. I'm looking him up, so at least he got that going for him.
Yeah, but like when you got that, like, I don't know. I did like how sad and pathetic he was and everything, and I thought that was fun. And the size of beard that he's drinking as well, I love, just comically huge while he's in that Letterman jacket with his bald giant head just looking like a big pile of dough. It's kind of great.
And the last note I have on this movie is that Chris Rodriguez Marquette, he and Adam Brody are in the 2007 Revenge of the Nerds remake. And do you guys know the story, the infamous story of the Revenge of the Nerds remake?
Is it fair for me to confess I did not know there was a 2007 Revenge of the Nerds remake?
There is a reason for this. Okay, Adam, do you know the story?
Does it not exist or something? I forget. I feel like I read something vaguely, but I don't.
So here goes, right? So they start pre-production on this show. They shot it. They shot in Wilmington. So it's this big budget movie. It's probably about it's probably got a $30 to $40 million budget. And in 2007, that's a pretty big budget. So they have these stars, everybody's in place. They have the script, the creators of this movie. Their idea is that they want to have a different type of nerd, because in 1984, the Revenge of the Nerds are all like glasses with the middle taped up and the slick hair and like the goofy clothes. But if you look like that in 2007, you are a hipster. And so they didn't want to do that. They wanted to do something else. So they have the sports guy nerd who knows all the stats and wears jerseys and is fat and he's a nerd. They have the Star Wars nerd. They have all of these nerds who are actual honest to God nerds. Like some of them probably have a podcast. And so they get 3 weeks into the shooting of this, and somebody from the studio shows up on set and sees that these are not your proper 1984 Revenge of the nerds with the taped up glasses, and goes insane. I thought this movie was Revenge of the Nerds. Why do all of these people look different? Why is that one wearing like a baseball cap and jersey? Like all of this stuff. They end up shutting down the production of the Revenge of the Nerds remake, of which they were 3 weeks into shooting already. They probably only had like 2 more weeks left than they would have had the entire thing. They shut it down entirely. They close up shop, shut down production. Everybody goes home. It is one of those moments where it's like, you guys, it's how I feel about Sony now. Like whenever you hear like, oh, Sony's making a Madam Web movie, or this is what Sony wants to do. This is their plans for the future, and it's just laughable, and you just shake your head, and you're like, why in God's name are you at a movie studio? You need to be doing anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what this moment in time felt like to me. It was one of the first moments where I was like, oh, even the people in the movie studio have literally no idea what they're doing.
You can't make Revenge of the Nerds in a post Big Bang Theory world, because people have just adjusted to the fact that give them a few years and they're actually living a life you wish you had.
Right. And the other part to this too is that, it's because my kids loved Big Bang Theory growing up. It was one of their favorite shows. They will deny it up and down if you ask them now. They watched it every day after school.
Yeah, everybody did.
And one of the things that I always thought, like, I think that show is an abomination, but one of the things I thought they did really well is that they're always on the fence of whether he is autistic or not, the main character, whether he's autistic or not, Sheldon. And so they're like, they don't say it, they don't hint at it, but he clearly probably is. Like, they do a really great job of that. There is no way a remake of Revenge of the Nerds handles that correctly. There's just no way.
Oh man, you got to call it Revenge of the Neurodivergent.
It's going to be
that would be the thing they would do.
One of those. It's going to be one of those. And keep in mind, the source material has one of the most offensive endings ever of all time. And so, like, that is your source material, and you're going to remake this. Sure, I'm sure the end is going to be very, very different, but they were trying something different, and the studio was like, no, we need the guys with the horn rim glasses with the tape in the middle.
Otherwise, how are they going to know they're nerds?
If you remake it, it still has to be set in 1984.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you.
And you start off with like a Princess Bride style framing session where the kid is nervous about going off to college and not fitting in. And the dad says, well, let me tell you about my college days. And then you go into the movie.
Perfect.
And the kid is like a neck beard with a fedora or something. Like, you got to do your modern day nerd. Or he's
and
wearing
no
a
rape
Star
at the
Trek
end.
outfit.
Well, listen, the remake rules are very, very strict. Like, no, take that out, you jerks. What do we think about the fat suit? The whole, just for the makeup and everything. This is because,
well, I kind of spoke my opinion on it already, that it does not enhance the mass as much as I remembered, because even though it's only 20 years ago, our concept of a fat high school student has changed a lot.
Yeah. The face is like really good, in my opinion. I'd like much better than I kind of suspected it would be. It's not amazing, but it's pretty darn for this non-Rick Baker thing. It's not bad.
I've seen three people fatter than him in that fat suit today, and I haven't left the house.
On the pantheon of fat suit movies, right? And I think we can all agree, Nutty Professor is basically the 10. Right?
Unbelievable.
Like, that's the top of the top.
10 good or bad?
No, it's the best.
It's really
fat suit, sure.
Nutty Professor. It's a great fat suit. It's great use of fat suits. Like, it's basically the Citizen Kane of fat suit movies.
And think what you will about the guy. Eddie Murphy can don a fat suit better than pretty much anybody.
And you know that Rick Baker makes the best fat suits and prosthetic crap
Right.
that's out there. So it's like you've got such a lethal combination with those two. It's so darn good. And it's done so many times. Hercules.
Did Rick Baker make the fat suit in thinner? Because that one's bad.
I don't think so, no.
You know what? I'm changing it, because originally what I had was that the whale was one.
Yeah.
Because the whale is a terrible, terrible fat suit. But Thinner is the worst fat suit movie.
You can
It's Thinner.
practically see the spirit gum holding it on his face. It's real bad. It's one of those that like you really wish they would have just kind of shot in reverse and just let a guy get plump, and they really kind of like that would make that so awesome, that show. But no, they had to make him just horrid looking.
I sent you guys in our text chain that I felt like this movie was my life shot in reverse, but that's a story for another day.
Hey, listen, so let's talk about this. Anyone else have a
hold on, let me finish because we're
fat suit
if
talk.
Nutty,
I'm so sorry.
If Nutty Professor is a 10 and Thinner is a 1 and The Whale is a 2, where is the fat suit in this?
Boy, can we break it down? Because I'd give the face a 6 or a 7 and the body's about a 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Just as far as like shape and everything for the body.
Extra layers of clothing on him, and that was the body.
I will say this: I love the way he moved.
Yes,
like he moved like a fat person.
As the cheerleader, he was perfect. Yeah, I got to say that. And for some reason, I look at their high school logo, and it looks like the current Mr. Beast logo. So I wonder if he's a big fan of this.
That makes me ask this question, bringing up the cheerleader. Where are the cheerleaders on Saturday Night Live? Are they already a thing?
Oh yeah,
they gotta be, right?
They're not only a thing; they're over at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's probably not the best.
Because I know I was doing interviews for residency in 2000, and I met a guy that said him and his sister every year at Christmas do a thing at the mall where they dress up like the cheerleaders from SNL. And I thought, well, I sure hope me and him don't do residency at the same place.
That was like middle school, high school years when they were doing that. So yeah. That's a long time. It's crazy to think how long ago that was now at this point.
Also, Spartan in my TP, it's me.
A little bit. He's still got a little bit of Jim Carrey in him in this performance, especially with the fat suit on.
Mm-hmm. He's especially like when he's singing "I Swear." Fantastic musical choice, by the way. Just
agreed.
Oh, so good. The music all through this movie is actually really good. Time pieces of them and everything, and like them driving back and listening to their mixtape from 1995 and stuff. Really, really works well. But
this was made at a time when it was still allowed to use friend zone in an unfortunate or derogatory sense. It's kind of not popular to say that now. But I was usually in the just leave me the heck alone zone. So even friend zone would have been a step up.
The friends, I would have taken a friend, please. Thank you. I had when this here comes some vulnerability time for you, everybody. I had a similar situation to what happened in this movie when I was in 3rd grade. So, a new girl came to school, and if you were like me, you grew up in a tiny little town and everything, where you were pretty much with the same group of people all throughout, your school years and everything. I grew up and know most of those people and stuff. Mm-hmm. So 3rd grade, this girl comes in, and she's different than everybody. She's just, there's something about her, right? And so
black.
She was darker skinned than other girls, which was more of an olivey kind of thing, but she was like, Valentine's Day comes around, and as you know that you do, you got your little bag there and everything, and people put all the stuff in there. And I wrote a nice little letter and everything saying how I liked her and all that crap. Nothing went on. So the class went on, and I thought, well, maybe I just got out of this scot-free. Maybe she just saw it and is ignoring it and whatever. Teacher ends up leaving the room, and guess who had an announcement to make to the class? This girl read what I wrote to the entire class. Everybody just howled laughing. It was terrible.
Ooh, that's rough, man.
I put my head on the table and I just cried. And
am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think having also experienced something like that, the being tased in the balls is preferable.
Maybe. But, and she realized what she did and came over and just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But it was like, it's already done, Yeah.
Oh, that's rough, man.
You think you can make my life any worse? Go ahead and try. And I'm only in the 3rd grade.
So, I watched this and I'm just like, whew, I felt that going in, man. So there were so many different little things in this where I was just like, I get it. I get a lot of it, and it spoke to me in a lot of ways as somebody also who's lost a decent amount of weight and everything. It's, people do end up treating you different and stuff like that, and you do have questions, and I don't know. The movie spoke to me a lot more than I had suspected this stupid little Ryan Reynolds film would. That's for darn sure.
Wow, man. Yeah, you had a far, far deeper connection than I did, and I still really like this movie. If I can tell you, since we're all airing our laundry here, I had a trick that I would do in college, which is I would befriend, literally just to befriend, I would befriend the best looking girl at college and hang out with her, because when you're around very attractive people come to you.
They show up.
And so I would hang out with her, and the girls would just magically show up. And it was the best trick I had ever played until I got older and then just started meeting famous people. And that was way easier. That was even easier. But the being around the prettiest girl in the, in the room totally helped. So if
later,
you are a youngster and you can't possibly be listening to this, find the prettiest, if you're a boy or a girl, if you find the prettiest person and just hang out with them, and the pretty people will come to you. I guarantee it.
Let you in on the trick I did, because I had a very good stretch from like 2003 to 2005. Nobody really wanted to date me in high school. I did have a girlfriend or two in college, but it was like, man, I had to climb a mountain without a rope in order to get those girls. You know what I mean? Nothing was easy.
Mm-hmm.
I went to medical school and then did a residency and lived in Nashville and carried like business cards that had like my name, Bruce Leslie, MD. And it got so much easier for a couple of years.
Sure.
So
so become a doctor
play.
is yours.
It's a long play, but it works sometimes.
Every now and then. But
why do you want to go to medical school? I said, for the honeys, not the monies.
I can't play guitar.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of playing guitar.
Just look at me. You should know why.
Speaking of playing guitar, I want to talk about the guitar playing in this movie. It's awful, and it's great awful.
Of course. They do it on purpose, though, I'm guessing.
So, now I will I'll say this much. They got Anna Faris to do at least an A chord. It looked like she was holding an A chord, which was nice. Now, when they cut to the part where we're just kind of seeing the top half and everything, she ain't strumming. I'm like, sweetheart, you still got to strum. We still need to see that arm moving just a little bit. Even if you're not touching the strings, move the arm a tiny bit. Same thing goes with Chris Clyde. Chris Clyde's just like, there's a couple times where I'm like, he learned a couple of chords, but he cannot play guitar. It's great.
He was perfect the first time he had the guitar when he was Dinkelberg or whatever in the room.
I do love him pulling out the double neck guitar with the 12 string and everything. Like he's such a shit heel character. I love it.
It's great.
And
he really is this. I think you said this, Adam, right? That this is his best performance.
Yeah, I think this is the best thing he's ever done. I really, really liked him in this.
I agree.
From the nerd
totally
that's covered in zits and everything, really getting pissed that he can't get the song right and everything. That also felt like a little bit of me as well in Wonder Summer. I'm telling you, there were so many times where I'm just going, oh, that's like me. Oh, I've had that. Oh, I did that one. Oh, that was a bad move. I remember that. There's a lot of, I didn't mess up anybody's yard. I can say that much. So that one's off of me. But there's so many other times where I'm going, oh, yeah, familiar. He's so much fun in this, and the fact that he is like, he's not just the regular movie. The normal movie would just make him the guy that he's kind of competing with now, and they would make him that perfect guy that we first find him out to be. I don't know that the regular like Hallmark movie makes him as much of a heel as he actually is. But I think that's what absolutely works with this, is he's looking back and he's just going, hey, we're both playing the same game here, buddy. And he's like, well, I'm not playing the same game as you. I actually like this girl. You're just trying to get revenge. Good little element in there that does not need to be there and would not be there, I think, in lesser romantic comedies.
There's a scene in an indie film called The Tao of Steve, very similar to that came out about 3 years before. And it's kind of poignant where a guy's like, oh, wait, am I doing this? You have to pause and make sure, wait, this is kind of what I was doing to start with, but I don't want to do that now.
Right.
A couple of other little tiny things that I enjoyed. Just some of the physical comedy, like the hockey scene and everything like that, and him getting injured. I love when that sucker flew and then capsized on him with his face on the ground. I was like, Jesus, that is rough. It's so good. Again, now let me ask you this, because when I'm thinking about all of these little elements and stuff like that, I wonder. Let me think. What you say with this? We got Roger Crumble here writing this or directing this sucker. What if this was a Farrelly Brothers movie?
It wouldn't be nearly as good.
You don't think so? Okay.
No.
I'm just curious.
Haggerty's role would have been much bigger.
The problem with the Farrellys is that the Farrellys had basically 2 movies in them, right? I mean, realistically, they had 2 movies in them. They had Dumb and Dumber, and they had There's Something About Mary. And Kingpin, which is a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah,
I love Kingpin.
Yeah.
But that's basically who they are. Everything after that is just kind of more of the same.
Variations on the theme. Yeah.
I mean, Something About Mary is their version of this movie.
Yes, and that gets to my point, which is that you can expect something awful to happen to someone at some point in this movie, like whether it's there's some sort of mental disability that he ends up with, or like we have to watch Amy Smart poop in a bathroom for 15 minutes. Like, it's going to be something like that.
Disgusting, kind of, a little gross out humor to add to the.
I mean, remember the hair gel scene in Something About Mary?
That's exactly right. There's always something in it where you're like, in a Farrelly Brothers movie where you're like, all right, the Farrelly Brothers made this movie.
It does scream them.
The Farrelly Brothers get a bigger box office return than the dude that made this Crumble, whatever.
Oh, for sure. And just by name alone, at this point, I think that now that means nothing. But in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, the Farrelly Brothers, they're bringing the heat.
Still being able to trade on that. That's for darn sure.
They were right there with Adam Sandler in this era.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just get away with whatever you want to do. And they're like, and the funny thing is, Sandler's still available to do that today. That's the weird part. If you look back on everybody, he's the only one who kind of just does whatever he wants now, which is
because he can do it for $2 million. Not many people can.
That's all you got to be able to do, baby. And if it makes enough money for Netflix and they keep giving you more,
he can return $8 million on $2 million. That keeps you working.
And taking all of your Hawaiian vacations, because those are all the movies that he ends up doing as well. It's like, what if all of me and my buddies went and got stranded at Hawaii? Oh no.
He saves money because you don't have to hire a casting director.
And he also starts producing his own movies at what, Big Daddy? I mean, he is. I mean, he's
Happy
the
Madison,
executive producer.
So it's after those first 2,
right? So he's executive producing his own movies at that point, which is basically the move that everyone should have done in the first place after they saw him do it.
Yeah. What a smart businessman outside of even good actor and comedic, guys that
which he has all 3 of those things.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But yeah, overall though, this movie surprised me, and it was for something that I only ever really remembered seeing that, the I Swear scene from, because it's, he's mugging so hard in it, and it's fun, and I even enjoy them putting it at the end credits there and everything. Also, I don't know if you made it past all of that, but then they put Anna Faris's song in right after that, which is great.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't watch that long.
It's real bad. Also, I haven't done anything of it, but like I said, this came in a 4-pack of Christmas movies and stuff. I thought this thing might be bare bones. This bad boy's got commentary. It's got deleted scenes. Like, this thing is chock-a-block full of special features, that most of which I'll never watch. But it's wild to think that they're there.
We need to end on this before we end. We need to end on this. So 2 years ago, Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart reunite, and they make a video, and that video is on Ryan Reynolds' YouTube channel. And it's basically a commercial for Aviation Gin, his gin company. What did you guys think of it?
Bruce, I'll let you go first because I have a suspicious theory about this video.
I don't have a whole lot to say. I think it's just kind of cool for the WTF value, like of all the things with more name recognition than just Friends, that he chose to bring in Amy Smart and do this. I think that's kind of cool. But other than that, I don't have a lot to say.
Number one, they both look really good.
They do.
They both look really, really good in this.
Well,
and,
you know, that tends to happen to millionaires that were born attractive.
yeah, well, you know, it doesn't hurt. Listen, you know, and after he got all that fat suit taken off, he just looks so much better. I have a suspicious theory about this because this commercial, funny, like, you know, very Ryan Reynolds, the whole thing, it was shot on green screen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the man's clothing in this. I think that he gang taped a whole bunch of stuff at the exact same time. Maybe, you know, like certainly commercials, maybe something for, you know,
Mint Mobile or whatever.
yeah, your Mint Mobile thing or something. He had to have done just because hell, maybe even a blockbuster movie or two, because the man has been in a lot of things where he is just standing in front of a green screen being Ryan Reynolds to the point with which
the actual set of Green Lantern.
Yeah, I almost think that is what they do now. Is like, listen, we'll just put Ryan Reynolds in a place and we'll form something around him. We'll figure it out, but we're going to let him be Ryan Reynolds. It feels like what we're doing. I'm not against it, but it seems strange that you look like you're wearing the same clothes and all the stuff. I feel like he was just like, we're going to do all this work today.
That's how Free Guy happened.
That's what I'm saying. This looks like it could have taken place in between takes of Free Guy, and I ain't even seen that film.
It might have.
Free Guy, if all filmed on the same day.
I do like the little joke though. It's just like, oh, you ran out of gin at the bar, then why do you have that with you? It's like this is good, right. The fun little writing in it. I do enjoy that.
There's some nice bits, and they clearly this is my point to it, which is that, you know, whether you like Zack Snyder movies or not, and I don't, I think he has two good movies. But the thing that I do like about Zack Snyder is that people go to bat for him who he has worked with previously all the time. And when you think about him stepping back from Justice League, nobody narked on him that it was because there was a death in his family. Like no one went to the press and like, hey, guess what happened? There's none of that.
That was very quiet for a very long time. Yeah.
And the reason why he gets that pass is because he's a good person to work with.
Yeah.
And so even though the actor who ended up playing, he's African American, he's in the Justice League.
Cyborg.
The guy who played Cyborg
is it Ray Fisher, maybe?
Yep,
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has problems with everyone at DC except Zack Snyder. Like he thinks he has nothing but nice things to say about Zack Snyder. And so whenever I see that he's going to do something new, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I usually get hosed and I shut it off after 10 minutes if it's a Zack Snyder thing, because he's such a good dude. And so now that you see this with Ryan Reynolds, people over and over and over again like to work with him because he is so easy to work with. Like whether it's him doing interviews with other actors in the movie that he is currently in with them, and they're just hanging out and being jokey, whether it's something like this, where Amy Smart comes back after they hadn't hung out for 20 years, comes to do his aviation gin commercial. It's because she likes hanging out with Ryan Reynolds. And whether it's your Samuel Jackson doing multiple movies with him, whether it's, you know, him and Hugh Jackman have been friends for 1,000 years, which is the only reason why he agreed to be Wolverine one more time. Like all of these things point to the one thing, which is that in an industry filled with horrible, horrible people, Ryan Reynolds seems to be one of those people that people like to work with because he is nice.
Can we speculate a little bit on Deadpool Wolverine here?
Please.
Yeah, why not?
That's why we're here.
My speculation
wild
is
speculation.
It's not Wolverine. He kidnaps Hugh Jackman and makes him dress and act like Wolverine. That's what I think the movie's going to be.
I could see that.
Oh, wow.
I could see that.
Could be.
Yeah, overall, though, let's kind of get into recommendations. Bruce, would you recommend Just Friends? What do you think?
As far as rom-coms go, of course, but you got to be the kind of person who enjoys a rom-com. I enjoyed it more than Van Wilder, which in my memory it was the other way around.
Yeah.
It's definitely got fun stuff to talk about. I lived through it, so I'm not easily offended at some of the stuff younger folks might be. Whereas in Van Wilder, I was offended.
I was offended because I was offended in Van Wilder because it wasn't funny. I mean, like not that this is overly funny, but like in comparison to the other one, this is like Chekhov. It's great stuff.
I would recommend it for like, look, this isn't going to be your favorite movie probably, but you know what? Go see it. If you've never seen it, go watch it. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, Sean.
I was surprised by this movie as well. It's a middling comedy. I mean, it's not. It hasn't changed my worldview, but it is one of those movies where it's good for what it is. It's a 2005 romantic comedy, and as far as mid 2000 romantic comedies go, this is pretty good. If you are looking for something to watch on a date, this is a pretty good one, especially if the other person has a good sense of humor. This is a banger for that. If you want to go even darker and crasser, we mentioned it earlier, I think Something About Mary is the king of those movies.
Yeah.
But this is a step down from that, so you don't have to see something truly vile, because there are moments in Something About Mary that are just vile.
Yeah.
And this has no moment like that.
Can I throw this in as one more recommendation before we go to you, Adam?
Yeah.
If you're a couple, let's say, and one of you wants to watch Something About Mary, the other one wants to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, this is the perfect compromise.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, this is a romantic comedy again, and I think you're right there, Bruce, is that like because it is majorly shown from the man's perspective, it is like again like another movie that's kind of that same sort of way. Your 500 Days of Summer that's told from a guy's perspective. Guys are much easier and more apt to watch something like that because it's coming from our perspective and stuff like that. So guys can get a hold of something like this a lot easier than they could your standard. A holiday, a Hallmark Christmas movie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This feels like it's still got like a little bit of edge. It feels like you're a cool kid as opposed to a dork who has to watch Hallmark movies. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie. Not knowing pretty much anything about it going in and stuff, and just like I said, there's a lot of fun little parallels to my own life in many weird situations and stuff. Best Chris Klein performance that I've ever seen. It almost makes me want to watch more of his stuff, but I know it ain't as good as this, and that makes me mad.
It's the Election again.
Yeah, I'll just watch it. He's so good in that but again, he plays like his character is supposed to be like that. But then like you can't have that character from Election in a Dragon Ball Z movie. All right, it's not going to be the same thing,
Right.
I think you could.
You could.
You can.
You can.
It's just not going to be any good.
You can and you did, but yes, it does do
I've seen
next to nothing.
Stranger Things in anime, so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you never know. That is fair enough. So that is it for this week. Sean, we are continuing on the Ryan Reynolds movie train here. What do we got coming next week?
Well, little known fact about me, I am a massive fan of Sandy. I love Sandra Bullock.
Sandy, Bullock. I thought we were talking Koufax. I'm sorry.
Well, I also like Sandy Koufax, although he was long retired after I was born. So I think that I'm going to have to go with Sandra Bullock. I love Sandy. I love her to death. I think that she is one of those actresses where even if the movie is bad, you can watch what she's doing and she's great in it. And if she's in something good and she's in it, it's going to be great. And she's proven it time and time again. I have never seen the movie that we're going to see next week, but I love Sandy, and it's a perfect excuse. So we're going to see The Proposal next week with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
I'm excited to talk about that one because I think you're right. Sandra Bullock has a very interesting career, and her kind of matching with Reynolds in this on his kind of like his ascendance. He's kind of going up at this point. Not to say that she's going down because she's still just banging it out big time.
Absolutely,
hits at
as
this
she
point.
should, because she's a treasure.
And here's the thing, and we'll talk about it next week, I'm sure. She's still doing pretty good stuff, and that movie with her and Channing Tatum, not bad. It's a good. It's
oh man, I
very
like
good.
Sandra Bullock. I like Sandra Bullock, I think, in the broad sense, but I have not seen many of her movies. Like I don't know what I've seen since Speed that I can confidently say I've seen.
Oh man! So we are going to have
prepare to be charmed, my friend.
We are going to have a very good time next week here talking about our good buddy Ryan Reynolds and old Sandy Bullock over there. It's going to be a good old time. So join us next week for more Ryan Reynolds. For Sweet Sean's Bruce Leslie, I'm Anna Portress, reminding you that if you cut every corner, there'll be more time for play.